Доброго ранку, шановні.
Good morning, dear colleagues. We start our working day at the Ukraine Crisis Media Center. The first topic of our briefing is detailed plans of territories, why they are unacceptable. Our guests are rights advocate Andriy Dekalo and Olga Gvozdik, representative of Kyiv branch of the political party Democratic Alliance. Good morning, dear journalists and our audience online. Today we are talking about the detailed territory plans. Kyiv city's Rada they approved these plans, detailed plans with violations. We got used to fight construction at the stage when the construction has already started, when there are some on-site activities. Construction activities. Civil society pays not proper attention to such constructions. Detailed plans should be approved without violations and according to the law. Detailed territory plan where it envisages residential housing building, and but when such objects are supposed to be constructed in the industrial area, for example in Rybalsky Island, this is industrial area, so 20,000 people will live there in industrial area. What will happen to Podol and Abalon, large districts, when Rybalsky Island becomes a residential area? We should talk about environmental conditions, about infrastructure of sewage and also electricity networks. We should pay attention to this. Detailed territory plans should be additions, supplements to the master plan of the city, but not violate it. And I'm giving the floor to Andriy. My name is Andriy Dekalo. I would like to explain you this issue. It is a rather controversial one for many reasons. They are connected with the legislation. Many factors are concealed. They are not talked about. As far as I understand, all of us would like to live in a comfortable place, in a comfortable city and safe city, having infrastructure, both transport infrastructure and kindergartens and schools and medical institutions, outpatient clinics. This means comfortable city. The infrastructure should form such special conditions for people so that they can live in this environment and achieve also perception of beauty. We should get aesthetic, also aesthetic and now our city does not develop this proper way. What we would like to tell you about the detailed territory plans, you can see now on the screen the detailed territory plans which are now in the Kyiv City Rada on their approval. They are in the process of approval. We have 18 detailed territory plans, a total of 81 plans. Every plan is focused on 15,000 people. This means that we will have more than 1 million more citizens in Kyiv, and the infrastructure of Kyiv is not sufficient to provide services to the population, which will increase by 1.5 million. This issue should be addressed starting with the 1st of January 2015, the law of Ukraine on regulating urban planning. It forbids transfer of urban lands to rent and also sales and construction without plans of zoning and detailed territory plans. So any developer willing to build some object and he comes to Kyiv city Rada, this developer should be rejected. This rule of the law is regulated by Article 24 of the law on urban planning, and this and also an amendment which started to be effective from 1st January 2015. What should the Council of Kyiv to do? Kyiv Council in 2013 approved master plan of Kyiv and the procedure of those plans approval. But the procedure violates the law, which says that the master plan should first be amended within a 5-year periods, and only after that detailed territory plans just supplementing and expanding the master plan may be adopted. We hope that the master plan 2025 will not be adopted because it violates the law. Kyiv has the master plan 2020 and it could just be amended according to the law. What is the main problem with the territory plans and master plan? The problem is that the master plan sets the intention of lands, either in industrial areas or residential areas or other assigned categories, but Kyiv Council just doesn't take into consideration such legal and lawful rules. For example, Rybalsky Island is an industrial area, and its functional purpose is industrial area. Residential buildings can't be built there, but Kyiv Council would like to approve the detailed territory plan. It is also to be heard today. Kyiv Council and the officials who prepare such detailed territory plans, they act in contradiction to the law. So the construction norms of Ukraine, they provide all rules, and why our city council doesn't comply with such rules, we don't understand. What should be taken into consideration while developing detailed territory plans? Urban planning documents should be considered. They contain master plan, cadastre master plan, and zoning. So the main documents with the Kyiv Rada, this is the city's cadastre. This is the main document. Everything is coded according to the state classifier of buildings. But unfortunately, they violate these rules. What we propose, we have already submitted the second appeal to the deputies of Kyiv City Council so that they do not vote for detailed territories plan putting on the agenda today because this is the violation of the law. We understand that some detailed territory plans, they have been approved by separate factions in the Kyiv City Council, so we propose relevant actions. We propose to establish an ad hoc committee to check the detailed territory plans which have already been approved, whether they comply with the master plan, and if they do not comply with the master plan, then to review them. Then the next step, detailed territory plans according to the law are not subject to expert assessment, but detailed territory plans in conditions as they are, they should be subject to expert assessment. All stages of documents issue should be computerized and they should be verified for compliance of documentation to the law, and the Kyiv Council by their own efforts and their own resources should prepare these plans and then seek for an investor who would like to rent the land, and when such investor comes and proposes a detailed territory plan, this is what Andriy said, that developers are interested in those development territory plans.
So maybe we should oblige the Kyiv Council to develop at their own expense and then search for investors for detailed plan of territories that our community of Kyiv require. The question is difficult, but it needs money, and each plan costs up to 1 million hryvnias. And the consequences of taking illegal detailed plans of territories we can see in elevated activity of construction companies, the reaction of community, Svetoshansky, Street 2, and also Geroev Dnipra, and in other areas. So how can we solve this problem? We believe that we should act in the framework of legislation. We should all do this. Kyiv City Council should adhere to legislation of Ukraine, not just take decisions that do not meet the norms of legislation. So we take into account that the Kyiv Council should take decisions and develop these plans and include the opinion of territorial communities. There should be enough parks, polyclinics, kindergartens. There should be infrastructure. And they should oblige the investor to invest funds in modernization of sewage systems. At that, we propose to the City Council to use the experience of the leading countries of the world, for example, Germany, Poland, when they allocate land plots for construction, and this construction should last 3 years. And during this time, they should not take rent from the construction company if he adheres to all the norms. We believe that this is just. And after 3 years of moratorium, if the constructor built the buildings and infrastructure, if not, he returns money that he didn't pay in these 3 years. So we minimize investment risks for investors, and investors can come and really build something that is really necessary for the community. And one more issue I would like to draw your attention to is that all CTP are developed only for housing, and I believe that in Kyiv, and maybe my opinion is shared by others, in Kyiv we have problems with working places, with employment. I would like to give an example. For example, they allocate land for lease, and the orderer pays only rent. He pays taxes to the city, he builds, then the building is occupied, and then the contract is breached, and city doesn't get anything. And city should help develop infrastructure to draw the attention of investors to enterprises that are ecologically clean, to provide employment for Kievans. Then the city budget would get taxes from those people who work, and also there would be some balance in the system, and the comfort of living would increase. Thank you, dear colleagues. Do you have some questions? Please introduce yourself first. Good morning, 2+2 channel. How can this problem be solved by chief architect of Kyiv? My personal opinion, Mr. Svestunov cannot solve this problem. If he would be able to solve this problem, he wouldn't sign the tasks for building that contradict master plan. But he signs, and Bonder, they sign the task for this state territorial plan that changes the function of these lands that contradict master plan, and I believe he commits crime by doing this. Do you have other questions? So 2 more questions from Ukrainian radio journalist. The first question: is there any legal mechanism to cancel the decisions of the city council? If formally they are legal, but community is against it, we should speak about separate cases. If, for example, in Svetoshina, the situation there is like this. The decision of Kyiv Council to transfer land to lease was in 2014, and the contract was signed in 2015. And according to the current legislation, the regulation, there should be a detailed plan of territory developed. And the situation, we have reasons to cancel this decision and cancel the lease contract and return territory to the community. And using this moment, I would like to add about Svetoshinsk Street 2. As I know, community addressed the district court to cancel the decision on allocating the land and contract on lease. So there is a practice according to which such appeals should be filed to regional or economy courts. We recommend community of Svetoshinsky to address the same appeal to Svetoshinsky regional district court or to economy court of Kyiv city in order to breach this lease contract that contradicts legislation, to land code that identifies clearly the terms of the contract, and also the article on the regulation of construction in the city. And as to possibility on impossibility, Kyiv City Council head can stop according to the land code, he can stop the use of any land plot. And in my opinion, the situation with this construction that are resonance cases, the head can stop the action of the lease document or contract on sale to study the situation at site. And the constructor shows the documents that were issued. And as a rule, devil is in the detail. You should look it up whether this documentation on construction adheres to the physical land plot that is allocated, and the implementation of legislation should be done properly. So I will give you an example. The Department of City Construction and Architecture provides specifications that are the basis for the development of all documents, and in the it is identified in the legislation that there should be a cadastre document from cadastre office. So if we see all the documents that were all the construction specifications, we see that there is a document from land cadastre, and I would like to specify that land cadastre and construction cadastre, these are two different things. We are in Kyiv city, and we have law on construction in the city, and there in the document it can be stated that this is a park zone or this is a production zone, and they cannot build housing there. And at this stage, the department could not issue these specifications based on legislation, and we would not have so many resonance cases around the city. In other cities, there are no such things. Thank you very much. And one more question to Andriy. Is there any chance for green projects to create some areas and to increase green zones at the expense of these doubtful construction sites? It can be done, especially what we propose if the city council would develop detailed territorial plans taking into account the opinion of the community. Thus, they could develop these detailed plans taking into account the importance of parks, kindergartens, and so forth. As to illegal construction, I will tell you this. It's my personal opinion. I believe we should take the examples and take the experience of Russian Federation. In the Civil Code of Russian Federation, it is clearly stated what should be done with illegal construction sites. And the same, the deputies should introduce the changes to Article 378 on the opportunity to demolish these illegal construction facilities. And if we demolish some construction, some buildings, and others won't build it without proper documents, they will see that they can be demolished. And these actions of the City Council of Kyiv, in principle, they provoke scandal grounded on the investment. So the investors, they hope that the state verify all the documents, that they are active, that they are valid, they are on the site, and people buy housing. There are documents, but then it is revealed that the documents are false or illegally issued. So we have a problem with the territorial communities and with investors that were frauded. So the actions and the protection of investment is not envisaged, but the action of the power should be in the framework of current legislation, and you should adhere to the legislation like in traffic rules, for example. So we all should adhere to laws. And why city council takes a decision and do not adhere to the law? So I will give the example how the Kyiv City Council works. Yesterday we had a meeting in the appeal court as to cancellation of decision. And the coastline areas in the Dniprovsk region, maybe you heard about it. This is in the Levoberezhsk area and the Mykolaiv, Slovatsky and the Riviera area. And in 2009, Kyiv City Council took the decision, illegal decision, as we believe, and they didn't even publish the decision in the terms of 30 days. Can you imagine this? And this was identified only in the court during the court hearing. So where is the responsibility of the city council before its territorial community and their voters? There should be responsibility. And the last question. You told us about automated system of the verification of the documents. How should it look like? I will tell you about this, right? Look. As I told you, practically we have two cadasters, land cadastre concerning the land plots, and there is land cadastre and construction cadastre. And each land plot has its functional, its function. And according to this cadastre, and third or fourth pages, there are specifications what type of building can be built there, and there is state classificator that identifies what buildings can be built there, so housing for people, a production unit, or some storage facilities with the identification of its type. Moreover, this code is placed in the declaration of state architecture inspection, and it is placed in the permit. So the function of this land plot is included in the documents, and the functional codes as to state classificator of buildings, and also we can automatically identify whether there is if we take, for example, Rybalsky Peninsula, so the first figures are 11, but there should be 13, but this is the production area, so we should compare. So they cannot do this without introducing changes into the master plan. So the less the civil servant will intervene, the better. There should be automated system. This is not a guarantee against illegal actions, but it will reduce somehow these illegal actions. Thank you, Andriy. Thank you, Olga. This is the end of press briefing. Till the next time, goodbye. Dear colleagues, our next event is at 10 sharp.